What's up, guys? Today we're going to do a ranking of the Cedar Point coasters. So, without further ado, let's get on to the intro. Just one thing to note though, Top Thrill 2 will not be included in this ranking just because I have yet to ride it. So yeah. At number 16 we have Corkscrew, and do I really need to say? Okay, so for number 14 and 15 I'll just be combining them, Woodstock Express and Wilderness Run, because they're both kiddie coasters. Nothing bad, just kiddie coasters. I mean, what do you want me to say? I think many of you could guess number 13. I'm losing track. Yeah, number 13 is Cedar Creek Mine Ride. The ride with that man on the ending brake run. Number 12, this one is very controversial. Magnum, it's just too rough for me. Like, it gives me a headache every time I ride it. Like, the airtime is good. It's really good, but it just doesn't make up for how rough the ride is. Like, the first time I rode Magnum, it felt smooth for some reason, but the past couple times I've ridden Magnum, it's just been too uncomfortable. I ride it like once a year, and then I just don't ride it. Number 11 is a year-old Wild Mouse. So originally, last year I thought, the year before that, when Wicked Twister was removed, I thought it would be, like Infinity, Gerstlauer Infinity, or Eurofighter, or a Mach Extreme Spinner. But realistically, it probably, besides like the Eurofighter or the Infinity Coaster, it really probably wouldn't have fit. I mean, unless you made it insanely compact, but, so Wild Mouse, smooth, doesn't make me dizzy. I mean, it's not extremely forceful or anything, but Cedar Point needed it. We're getting pretty close to single digits here, but at number 10, we have Iron Dragon, the arrow swinging suspended coaster. I mean, I ridden the Bat at Kings Island, and I definitely enjoy that better, but Iron Dragon is longer, but the Bat is way more forceful. That's why Iron Dragon is okay for me. I mean, I did get some pretty good views of Top Thrill 2's, what was going on in the station and everything just from riding Iron Dragon. And I remember being in Iron Dragon's queue, looking at those footers when we didn't know what was happening with Top Thrill 2. We pretty much knew it was a spike just from the footers, but I mean, it's an okay ride, good for the families. So number 9, we do have Raptor, which I liked it when I first rode it. I mean, I loved it. It was like, it's what really got me into coasters, but now riding it, it just bangs my head a lot because my head is like right up to those restraints, and especially on the Cobra roll, my head is just that transition into on the on the Cobra roll, those transitions are just insanely whippy, and my head just gets bashed. I had a headache after Raptor, and the restraint never goes down a lot on me for some reason, so I'm always just plopping around in Raptor. It just being shook around like a rag doll. It's just not fun anymore. I think it needs a retrack in my opinion. I think that would help Raptor maybe. Well, it's not really rough or anything, but it's headbanging. I mean, maybe not a retrack, but maybe if they gave it new trains with vest restraints. I know I personally think vest restraints are too restrictive, but especially on Raptor, those hard over the shoulder restraints, they're just, I mean, I've ridden a bunch of coasters with hard over the shoulder restraints, but Raptor is just the worst one because, like, I don't know why. Raptor's just there. At number 8, we have Gemini, which is a really fun racing coaster. I mean, especially when I do it like with my friends and stuff like it's just probably one of the it's not intense, it's not rough. Um and I'm kind of sad that it only opens at 12 nowadays, I'm pretty sure. But it's just fun. Like it's not rough, like it's older than Magnum and stuff. You'd think it'd be rougher, but Gemini's smooth. Smooth as some like B&Ms almost. Like it's almost crazy how smooth Gemini is. Like yeah. At number 7 we have Valraven, the B&M dive coaster at Cedar Point. Me personally, I think those vesture stains are pretty restrictive, and they do staple you sometimes. And I've got stapled the most probably on Valraven than any coaster with vesture restraints or other restraints that can staple you. But Valraven, it looks scary. It looks big, just like really almost all dive coasters, besides the mini dives. But it's really, it's just pretty bland. Like it almost like I know it does go upside down, but after that drop, it almost feels like a family coaster. Like me personally, I just like the inversions are just so drawn out and graceful, almost like Gatekeeper, that they're really not that intense. I mean, on that G roll, um, you do get some pretty good hang time, but the restraint is just so restrictive that it's really not even that good of hang time. But yeah, at number 6 we have Gatekeeper. Um, It's really similar to Valraven. I do like it a little better just because it's longer. Um, they feel really similar. Besides, I've only gotten stapled on Gatekeeper once, and it's the coaster I've ridden the most at Cedar Point. I've gotten stapled more times on Valraven, and well, actually, basically every time I've ridden Valraven, I've gotten stapled. Like, I like Gatekeeper because it's longer. I mean, on that Camelback, well, the airtime hill, well, yeah, I did get some pretty good floater airtime. I mean, it only happened like one time. It was some pretty good airtime though, and it wasn't like Steel Vengeance level or anything, not even close, but it was just decent airtime. Like, I was surprised because the coaster has vest restraints and everything. The near misses, you'd think they're better than they are, but they're really not as good as some people think. I mean, it's the only wing coaster I've ridden, so I don't really know what the other near misses are like on any other wing coasters, but maybe they're better. Now we're into the top 5. And at number 5, what I think is the best B&M in the park, and is really controversial, like you could easily most people would swap this and Magnum out really easily, it's Rougarou. I mean, it's nothing special, it's not too intense or anything, it's not rough in my opinion. I've never really had a rough ride, I've never really had headbanging on Rougarou, like, it's nothing too special. Like, it's pretty much like Raptor, but it's a floorless coaster, not inverted. But I think Raptor honestly has more headbanging. I think I'd take Rougarou any day over Raptor. I mean, Rougarou's just fun. I mean, nothing special. Number 4 is Blue Streak, which is also a really controversial one because I'm not like most people with how I like stuff, but those PTC trains on with skinnier people like me, it doesn't really even touch your lap at all. Like for me, Blue Streak, Dirt Strength, like on the Beast and stuff too, like Dirt Strength doesn't even touch my lap. Like I get some insane airtime on those hills. Like every time I've ridden Blue Streak is the first coaster I ever went on at Cedar Point. I thought it was really rough at first when I first rode it. Then the next times I've ridden it, it's not rough. I mean, it has a little of a shake, but it's more of a classic shake, I'd say. Blue Streak, I just like riding it. I mean, it's fun, insane airtime, especially. But I mean, I remember one time with my friend during Halloween. It was night. There's no one in the station for Blue Streak. No one in line. Me and my friend got front row Blue Streak at night. No one else in the train. And it was just probably one of the most fun experiences ever. At number 3, we have the one and only Millennium Force. I think this coaster is really fun and it is not forceless, but I still respect other people's opinions who think it is not, who think it's forceless. I think it's pretty forceful. I don't know if earlier I just said it was forceless, but I think it's actually pretty forceful, and I think the name really suits it because it's made in 2000 and it's pretty forceful. I don't know if yeah. Number 2 is Steel Vengeance. I think it's a really good coaster. It's really fun. I like how long it is, but it definitely does use a lot of elements over and over again. It's pretty repetitive, and I think it's overrated, but it's really good. Airtime is insane. It's a really fun coaster. It'd be number 1 if the number 1 current spot did not exist in the park. And for number 1 spot, drumroll please, it is Maverick, which has always held a special place in my heart just because, well, I really liked Maverick, and it's just been basically like favorite coaster I've ever been on. And I think that's also just because it's special to me, because I always wanted to ride Maverick, but it was shut down the first time I went to Cedar Point. Um, it, and later that year I got to ride it though, and I really, really liked it. And I think it really deserves this place. I mean, that drop, some insane airtime. That second launch in the tunnel, especially in the front, it basically takes your breath away. It's just fast and it's really fun. And that's why I really think Maverick deserves to be first place on this list. That was all for today's video. I hope you like, subscribe, comment what you think about this ranking and what you would change or what your list of your favorite Cedar Point coasters is. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions, and see you in the next one.